conversation. And I have a guest with me today, and like always, I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. So, can you please do that for me?
Well, my name is Edgar Garcia. I am a journalist. I'm a voiceover talent. I've been working in this industry in television, radio, advertising for around, this is going to be my year number 38 in the business. And basically, I've been working extensively doing a lot of commercial work and broadcasting, basically. So, in a nutshell, that would be me.
So, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Venezuela, and then I immigrated to the U.S. around 2015. And after that, well, I continued doing my work here as a voiceover. And after that, I became an instructor at Miami Media School, where I'm currently teaching the new generations of broadcasters, the aspiring broadcasters, to learn the tricks of the trade, basically.
Okay, and what led you to this career?
What led me to this career? Well, I would say that since I was very young, probably when I was 14 or something, when your voice starts to change, I kind of got this voice that you listen to, and people were always telling me you should go into the radio thing, and I was like, yeah, I like it, but I'm not sure if I can do that. I had other interests, and I had other career paths laid out for me at that time, which I pursued and did. I became a human resources manager at that time, um, and I got a BA for that, basically. But right before or I was about to graduate, I began working in the industry. I began doing some radio, and I simply fell in love with the thing. And fast forward 38 years, and here I am.
Okay, and how has your family supported you for this?
Well, families sometimes might be reluctant. It's like if you want to be a singer, your dad, your mom is gonna look at you like, oh, are you sure? You're not gonna you're not gonna pay the bills with that. That's what people say, but it turns out you can. And once I understood, it took me a while to start making money out of this, but once I understood that it could be possible and I was making good money, I said, "What the hell? Let me just continue with what I'm doing and pursue this as a career," and that's what I ended up doing.
How how um how was your environment in supporting you in accomplishing that?
I think my environment was quite supportive, reluctant but supportive. If you want to do that, go ahead and do it. We'll back you on this one. And I never had any kind of resistance from my immediate family. Uh, they thought maybe it's a phase,
Mm-hmm.
maybe he'll outgrow it or something. But as they saw that I was becoming successful, they kind of understood that no, the guy's good at what he does, and let him just do what he thinks is the best thing for him. So I really would think that no, I didn't find any resistance whatsoever in terms of that.
Did you learn English in Venezuela?
No, originally I had to live. My father worked for Shell Petroleum Company, and he had to move around a lot. So we originally were stationed in London, England, and I learned English there. Uh, I spoke British. Uh,
Forget a little bit
I forgot completely about it. Yeah. I normally kind of get it again when I visit London and I start talking to a cabbie or something that I kind of, it takes me a while to understand a little bit of, the slang that they have.
Mhm.
And suddenly I start like talking kind of British. But no, I just lost it because we moved from London to New York.
Mhm.
So go figure.
Mhm.
And I was like 8 years old or something. You're a sponge, so the first thing I'm listening to is exactly the kind of ways of talking that I assumed, and I completely lost the British accent.
Now, this might be a little stupid, but as a Spanish speaking, can a Spanish develop their accent too in the British? I'm curious now. Like
What do you mean with the?
my brain went there. Like me trying to picture a Spanish person with a British accent in Spanish.
I don't think that can be done. No, no, there's no absolutely no way that can be done.
That
But
would be crazy, right?
it's too different. But Uh, well, remember, every single language has its different changes. An Aussie will not speak the same way as a British. A British will not speak the same way as a Canadian, and so on, so on, so on. So basically, uh, it depends, and even in the States, California's not the same as New York. New York's not the same as Buffalo. Every single time you're going to find, different accents, but taking it from different languages to another, no, that cannot be done. At least from my experience.
Okay, and so let's go back to the 14-year-old. I'm curious to see what we find there
Mm-hmm.
because it's a very important age, right? Your voice is changing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now, how, again, remind me, you were being encouraged. Did you do anything at that age? Any type of voice work at 14?
No, at 14, no. I began late, to be honest. I began at 20,
Okay,
as a professional broadcaster.
okay,
But I had the inclination of doing those things. And I was, for example, as a 14-year-old, I would do DJing, for example, on my own. Let's say I was at home and I played a record and I tried to do what radio DJs do to present the songs and those kind of things. So in a way, I was kind of training
right.
on my own time, doing those things and analyzing, okay, I can do this. And it became something that I said, I want to do this. But the thing is that when you transition into the professional world, you'll find, and normally it's something that I tell my students at a certain given stage of the process. Uh, when you begin, it's something kind of difficult to do, and you won't see that much money coming in, and you might feel frustrated and things of that nature. But no, in this case, it took me a while. It took me a while. I'm going to say years to begin making money with this. But in the time that I was, that little kid that was growing up and trying to be a broadcaster in this case, I was extensively trying to do it and trying to improve on my own time. But I think it paid off eventually.
Mm-hmm. How do you handle criticism, negative criticism?
Look, criticism is something that you have to learn how to deal with. And in this particular job that I have or activity that I do, criticism will always be there. I've received, harsh criticism, and I've also given criticism and noticed people that are not willing to take criticism, and those people are short-lived, at least for what I've seen. Short-lived in terms of if you're working in the broadcast industry and you don't take criticism, you're out because you need to improve, and improvement's going to come by people who know more than you. Uh, every single time, every single day, I take criticism. I give it, but I also take it. And the more you understand that if you are critiqued, there's something good out of it that you can take out as a takeaway, I would say. You're not supposed to know it all. You have flaws, and maybe someone's pointing it out. And if that's so, you should basically see how right could that person be in terms of the critique he's given you, and what can you do to fix it, if that would be a thing. Look, in my area, we have to audition normally to producers, creatives in the advertising field, and whatever. I may, for example, audition probably more than 100 times per month. If I get 2 or 3 commercials in that period, I would think I'm on a roll. But it's also telling you that 97 of those auditions went the other way. So those were 97 no's. So I got a ton more no's than yeses. If I wasn't sure that this is not because I'm not good enough for this, it's just because I'm not the person for the job. When I understand that, it's not criticism. It's simply just the subjective side of this business, and how we can basically not have to, die for something that I didn't get the part. If I was an actor, I didn't get the part. You weren't the person for the part. Somebody else did something that you didn't. So that doesn't make you worse or not. It just makes you analyze what you did so you don't do it again. So critique and criticism for me is something very normal, very natural. It does not affect me at all. Well, unless it's something that's ill-hearted or something like that. But that's for another occasion. But in terms of taking criticism, I would say to people, just absorb it and see what you can get out of it. There has to be a takeaway out of any given situation that involves criticism.
What was your worst criticism?
Look,
That you remember that stood out.
well, I've been called, for example, I worked for a station. I was a news anchor on a station, and I had a very stern news director. Everybody, feared him. And he was slowly giving me more and more responsibilities. And there was one of those who only he did it. It was one page that he had to read, which was the editorial page of the newscast at that time. He was the only one that did it. So one day he got stuck in traffic, so he called into the station and he told me, "You're going to read it today." So I read it, and to my understanding, I did a perfect job. So when he got to the station, I'm sitting there in the press department with all the journalists and everybody else, and he comes in and he says, "Are you a voiceover?" And I'm proud of what I just did. And I say, "Yes, of course I'm a voiceover." And he says, "No, you think you're a voiceover. Everything, every misconception of the business and the industry, you just did it in what you just read. That's a piece of crap what you do." He just, mopped the floor with me in front of everybody. What happened with me? At first, I was, it was the first time that something like that had happened to me. At first, I felt, like overwhelmed by it. But then I understood, okay, what went wrong here? Because something must have gone wrong. So let me hear what this guy is going to do. So I paid attention to what he did when he read the next one. Mm-hmm. And then I understood he was right. So criticism gave me the option to understand something that I thought I had already understood halfway. Now I can get it, completely. And after that, he gave me the option to read that thing. So, you always get something out of being able to work with criticism and get the best out of it. Not just feel bad about it because someone is not, thinking the way that I want them to be, or to think about me. No, it's just about being able to identify what is wrong, or are they right in what they're telling me.
Right, because that's the other thing I was going to get into is the fact that someone can be very confident with themselves as a talent, and they go and they perform, and then the person says, "No, you've got it wrong," but then it's good for someone else.
Look, sometimes I audition for commercials and I don't get the part. Mm-hmm. And then I listen to the commercial on air with somebody else. And I say, "That's the guy they chose? I could have done it 100 times better." But it turns out that he did something in the audition that I did not do. So he did it better. So I have to cope with that and understand that in the subjective business that I live in, I have to understand that sometimes not everything is going to go your way. Or maybe you think that you are really good at what you do and they could have done it better, but it turns out that to the eyes of whoever chose that person, he did it better. So what I have to do is understand what he's doing to maybe apply it into my game and see what can I get, or what kind of improvement I could get out of that.
So what if someone gets so many no's? Do you think they should give up, or do you encourage someone to keep going? When do you know when to go tall?
If I'm telling you that I'm being critiqued 100 times a month and I'm still going, why would I stop? Why would anybody stop? It makes no sense. Perceptions are perceptions, and people might think things about you that you might believe that are not true. Well, fight and let them understand that those things that they believe are not the way that they believe them. If we continue, if we fight on, I think we can get to where we want to go with no problem at all. It doesn't matter that you're being critiqued. I think it's a blessing in a certain way, because it could drive you, if you're not getting any critiques at all, it could drive you into a comfort zone. It's not challenging you. I think critique is challenge.
Now, how do you take care of yourself mentally through this industry?
I think I have a strong personality to deal with this. I've had setbacks as anybody else. Setbacks, kind of hit you hard. For example, if I'm expecting a I want to do this show and somebody else gets it. What happened? Why didn't I get the show? You kind of feel that emptiness inside you, but then you realize, there'll be other opportunities. And basically, if you have a strong will, if you have a strong personality, I don't think you're going to have any issues with that. This industry requires strong personalities, and I wasn't that when I was younger. And when I was a 14-year-old, I was a kind of a shy guy. Mm-hmm. But as you progress through the industry and you start looking and receiving all that criticism, all those things that happen, setbacks and all, it starts to grow a shell on you, and you start, to toughen up in a certain way, and you deal with the situations in a much easier manner. But to me, basically, if you don't have the personality, let me rephrase that. If you don't have the personality, I would say you can build it as well.
I really, first thing I'm going to say is when I first met this man, and he walked into my the classroom. He's my instructor, by the way. I heard the voice, and right away I was like, radio, TV, and so I admire your voice. The other thing I resonate with you is how you are as a person. Like, I've struggled with that because, unlike you, I was not shy. I was exactly like you, but I was broken. Mm-hmm. And so I do therapy, and I speak to my therapist. I'm like, why do I see people like me that are able to be direct and look, because we come across as mean, but we're really not.
Yeah.
And sometimes I see people be themselves in that way, but I find myself feeling like I have to tone myself down. But by toning myself down, I'm not happy.
Of course you're not going to be. It doesn't make any sense, because why would you tone yourself down? If you have your personality, and by the way, you have it, and you exude personality all the way, for what I've seen in the short months that I've been knowing you, if somebody's playing you down or doing something, look, in my particular case, in this school, they call me tough love in a certain way, because that's what I give. I tell you it's wrong. And sometimes I would say even that's a piece of crap. Right? Which to someone would be, whoa, what the hell is this? But as I'm saying those things, I'm also giving you why. So you're understanding, why am I saying this? Right. And maybe the call to action, which is, that's a piece of crap, which is going to get your complete attention to the fact of what I'm saying, is going to allow me to explain to you exactly what's going on. The problem is if I'm doing that with nothing behind it. Mm-hmm. If I'm just saying that's a piece of crap, but I have nothing to back it up with. Right. No solution at all. So that's where I think that you get a takeaway every time you get critique. I would say we have to maintain our personality, or build our personalities around the people we are surrounded with. It depends on where you want to go and how you feel with it. There's people that are not going to, they're not going to be as strong. There's people that are going to be really strong, and there's going to be people that probably are going to be in between. But it depends on what you want to do, and where you want to go, and what you want to be. Mm-hmm. If you're confident, I think you're going to get there. Mm-hmm. But if you're, kind of reluctant, if you are hesitating, if you don't think, nothing's going to happen. So basically, I think it's a matter of self-conviction, of who you are, or who you're being, or building to become in the very near future. That's what's going to help you, evolve as a person, and evolve as a more or a stronger personality, if I would say.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, what's your dream project?
I've had them already, dream projects I've done. Again, I've been around for a while, so I've gotten really good opportunities. One of those dream projects came out of nowhere when I became the voice for Warner Brothers and their network that broadcast throughout Latin America. So I was basically a guy working for a big radio station in Venezuela, and suddenly I'm thrown in a studio to work for a network that's going to broadcast my voice to 23 different countries. That's a big thing. And when I learned that this network was going to be broadcasting to more than 40 million people at a given time, Now you're seeing a scope that's way too big. Um, that's one dream project that I did not ask for; it just came. Uh, One thing that I do believe about this business is you got to be in the right place at the right time for things to happen. So that's why you have to be, patient about the things, those dream projects that you're looking for, that you aspire to do. They will be there, and all you have to do is basically meet people, network, and get to know and be present, be in the top of mind of people so you can probably get those opportunities. But, dream projects, I've had a lot. And I'm happy with what I've accomplished so far in my career. I don't think I'm done. I think there's a long way yet to travel. Uh, one of the
That's sorry to interrupt, but that's why I asked what dream project, because I know that there has to be something that you haven't done yet. That you're like,
Not that I haven't done, but I want to go back. I want to go back to anchoring news. I love that scenario. I'm really good at delivering the news. I think it's my natural habitat when it comes to a microphone and a camera. I think that's where I, deliver the best body of work that I may offer people. That is something that's there. Maybe at this particular time, and by the way networks conduct themselves nowadays, you need to go through a different set of steps to get to that chair, which probably I don't have the time to do now. So I don't know if that's going to be a thing, or if it's something that's going to happen. Probably it could. I don't know. But if it does, I would more than welcome such an opportunity.
something that you can tell people that comes from your heart, because I know you have a good heart, even though you may not look like one, that can inspire someone today, right now, to either, like, they're in the brinks of giving it all up. What would you tell them?
I've had this conversation so many times with other students, people that have been broken, people that feel that they're not good enough. Um, I can say that the only thing you need is persistence. That's basically what you got to do. People get frustrated. People think that I'm not achieving the results I was aiming for in the amount of time that I thought I would. This thing is leading me nowhere. If you persist, if you continue your path, you'll get there. It may take more time than others. It may probably not work out at all. It doesn't matter. It gave you something additional that you can offer now, because probably, and I've had students here that have told me, I'm no good for this, when reality tells otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Brief example, a student that was here and we conducted a contest. The radio station came here with some judges and we had some DJs from the school to compete and see who was the best. And this person won. And after that, she was still thinking, I'm not good for this. And I'm telling her, I was part of the jury, but my option, you weren't my first option. It was somebody else. But the others, which is the ones that you should be interested in, which are the ones that don't know you, were the ones that pulled you into winning this thing. So that tells you, because it's coming from professionals, that you have something. So you got to fight for that. Regardless of your situation, regardless of what's going on with your life right now, there's so many things you can do. But if you're just expecting things to come out of thin air and just bathe you with I don't know, with good luck or whatever, that's not going to happen. Persist, maintain your course, try to do it once, twice, as many times as necessary, and something eventually will happen.
So would you say your biggest supporters are not your family and friends?
I would say my biggest supporter. No, my family continues to be my biggest supporters. Of course, they're already. It's my bread and butter, and to them it's something so normal. It's like, at first, my mom would love to go see me on the station. She hasn't been in the studio for I don't know the last 25 years because it's commonplace now for her. My wife, the same thing. My daughter, she used to go with me to the shows, and ask me if she's even interested in what I'm doing. No, she's not. So basically, it doesn't mean that I don't have the support from them. It's just it became commonplace, and to them, it's just it's my job.
Okay. All right. So I am done asking questions and here.
All right.
Thank you for having me. For ha-
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thanks for sitting with me. It's a great privilege, seriously, because you've done a lot. You've accomplished a lot.
Thank you so much.
So I look forward to following you.
Okay. I'll see you in the studio.